Listen, India is not just another rising economy anymore. It's becoming a champion, a powerhouse, and the ultimate game changer in a world full of chaos. And I'm going to tell you exactly why Europe and the Middle East are turning their eyes toward this unstoppable force. Today, I'm not here to talk about pumping iron, making blockbuster movies, or governing California. I want to talk to you about India, not just as the world's most populous nation, but as a force of strength, innovation, and global leadership in a world that's desperately looking for winners. Let's explore why the Middle East and Europe are now turning towards India economically, politically, and diplomatically. And I'm saying this as someone who's conquered multiple fields and knows what real championship looks like. Let's not waste time with small talk. The global power structure is going through a complete transformation. And if you're not paying attention, you'll miss the biggest championship match of this century. We're watching the old champions struggle to stay relevant while a new champion quietly rises to dominance. And guess who's right at the center of that victory? India. We've grown up in a world where the story was always West leads, East follows. But now, for the first time in modern history, India isn't just participating in the global game, it's rewriting the rules. And that changes everything. Here's what I learned from bodybuilding, Hollywood, and politics. When you've got a nation with the largest working age population, a democratic framework, and an innovation-driven economy, you're not just watching a country rise. You're watching a civilizational champion making its comeback. Europe sees it, the Middle East sees it, even China sees it and quietly fears it, because while many nations are getting stuck in political dysfunction, aging populations, or economic fatigue, India is moving forward with the intensity of a champion. It's the fastest growing major economy, period. It's building smart cities while launching satellites into space. It's digitizing villages while simultaneously exporting AI talent to the world's top tech firms. It's creating unstoppable momentum. And in my experience, momentum is everything. Look, the world right now is like the ultimate competition. Europe, fragmented and cautious. The US, divided and distracted. China, aggressive but hitting its limits. But India is the competitor that's been training in silence, studying every move, playing the long game, and most importantly, building real strength. That's what separates India from the rest. It's not making noise with threats or warships. It's dominating with stability, scale, and strategic patience. And that's incredibly powerful in a world that's hungry for certainty. And here's the knockout punch. This shift isn't just economic, it's philosophical, it's cultural. It's the comeback of one of the oldest civilizations on Earth, now armed with code, satellites, data, and startups. That combination, it's unprecedented. So why are the Middle East and Europe turning toward India? Because they can feel the championship energy. They know that India brings both power and wisdom. It's not trying to replace anyone, it's simply becoming irreplaceable. The future will not be decided by who controls oil or who builds more weapons. It will be decided by who controls innovation, who builds trust, and who can sustain growth without chaos. And right now, India is checking all those boxes like a champion. This is not a prediction. This is happening right now, and the world is taking notice. Here's something I learned from every competition I've won. In the 21st century, trust is the ultimate currency. It's more valuable than oil, gold, or even data. And right now, in a world where alliances are fragile and economic stability is rare, India is emerging as one of the most trusted growth partners on the planet. Listen, we're moving into an era where countries don't just want power, they want predictability. Europe wants partners who don't flip overnight due to regime change. The Middle East wants long-term collaborators who won't hijack deals with ideology or dominance. And in that vacuum of uncertainty, India stands out like a champion in the spotlight. Why? Because India isn't erratic, it isn't authoritarian, and it doesn't play games with smaller nations. Instead, India is stable, transparent, and strategic all at the same time. It's a partner you can build a 10, 20, even 50-year vision with. Let me tell you straight facts. France isn't just signing defense contracts with India, it's forming strategic joint ventures. Germany is not just exporting cars, it's importing digital innovation from India. The UAE and Saudi Arabia aren't just looking at trade routes, they're funneling billions into Indian infrastructure and tech. Because they understand this. India delivers. It's not making promises in press releases and failing behind closed doors. It's launching payment systems that work at the street vendor level and scaling to billions. It's building expressways and digital highways simultaneously. This kind of execution, that's champion level performance, and it's what makes India bankable. And here's the golden victory move. India doesn't come with political strings attached. It's not exporting ideology. It's not demanding conformity. It's offering partnerships that are respectful, flexible, and grounded in mutual interest. That's why nations, especially in the Middle East, are leaning in. They've had their battles with Western arrogance and Eastern authoritarianism. But India treats them as equals. It understands ancient cultures, shared values, and long-term vision. In my time building businesses, whether in entertainment or politics, the best partner is the one who stays consistent under pressure, who respects the mission, and who shows up when it counts. That's India in a world where global markets are unpredictable and political alliances are shifting like sand. So yes, the Middle East is turning toward India, Europe is turning toward India, and soon the whole world will, because trust is rare and India has earned it. You don't bet on noise, you bet on substance, and right now India is all substance. Now let's talk about something truly championship level, the India Middle East Europe Economic Corridor, or IMEC. This isn't just another trade route. This is historic engineering of global strategy, a 21st century Silk Road, and India is the anchor. I've been involved in projects that push the limits of what's possible, so believe me when I say this, infrastructure isn't just about moving goods. It's about moving power, and IMEC is power, strategic, economic, and diplomatic play. Flowing from India through the Middle East into the heart of Europe. Let me break it down for you. What is IMEC? It's a multimodal corridor that links India's western ports to the UAE and Saudi Arabia, then connects via rail networks through Jordan and Israel, all the way to Europe via Greece and Italy. Add in electricity grids, hydrogen pipelines, and fiber optic cables, and you've got a lifeline for the future. And guess who's driving the energy behind this? India. Because this corridor doesn't just move containers, it moves innovation, energy, and information, the three pillars of future dominance. While China built its Belt and Road Initiative with loans, debt traps, and imperial overreach, India is doing something far more sustainable, building trust-based infrastructure backed by open cooperation, not coercion. This isn't a grab for influence, it's a blueprint for balance. The Middle East sees it. They're shifting from oil empires to knowledge economies. They want partners who respect their vision, not exploit it. Europe sees it. They're looking for diversification away from China and more stable democratic sourcing routes. India is the only major power that fits both categories. Trusted by the West, respected by the East, rooted in ancient civilization, driven by modern technology. This corridor could redefine everything. Shorter delivery timelines, reduced energy dependence on volatile regions, direct trade between 3 billion people, massive job creation across continents, digital and clean energy alignment. And think about this, no war, no colonization, no force was needed, just vision, diplomacy, and execution. That's what makes India different. It's not just building roads and railways. It's building a new world order through strength and partnerships. And IMEC is just the beginning. This is how real champions are built. Not with threats, not with manipulation, but with corridors of trust and flows of progress. So, yes, when I look at IMEC, I don't just see trade. I see India becoming the foundation of a new global system. It's bold, it's brilliant, it's the future, and it's already happening. Here's what I learned from conquering Hollywood, politics, and business. In the age of artificial intelligence, space exploration, and energy transformation, the real power doesn't lie in oil or land. It lies in intellect, in code, in brains, not borders. And right now, one country, India, is rapidly emerging as the intellectual capital of the planet. You want to know why Europe and the Middle East are turning toward India? Because they figured out what some people in the West are only starting to realize. India has the talent, India has the tools, and now India has the terrain. For decades, Indian engineers, scientists, and doctors were fueling growth in Silicon Valley, London, and Berlin. In my time as governor, I've personally worked with Indian minds in California's tech sector. And let me tell you, they're world class. Their work ethic is relentless. Their thinking is deep. Their adaptability is unmatched. But here's what's changed, and this is a massive shift. India is no longer just exporting its talent. India is building with it at home. Think about that. India is launching its own satellites, landing on the moon. India built the UPI digital payment system, arguably the most advanced real-time payment network in the world. India is producing unicorn startups, AI platforms, and green tech at a scale no one predicted. And it's all homegrown. You know what that means? It means India isn't just participating in the global innovation game, it's setting the rules, and countries like Germany, UAE, and Saudi Arabia see that. Germany is investing in Indian quantum computing labs and EV battery facilities. Saudi Arabia is collaborating on AI research with Indian firms. Dubai is welcoming Indian fintech and edtech platforms that are transforming how business gets done. India has become the ecosystem, not just the employee base. What used to be outsourcing is now a full-on tech partnership model. From AI to aerospace, from blockchain to biotech, India is showing up with solutions, not just resumes. Europe sees this as a chance to reboot its aging innovation engines. The Middle East sees it as a chance to diversify into the digital economy. And India sees it as its moment. It's no accident that top CEOs of Google, Microsoft, IBM, and Adobe are of Indian origin. But the real flex now is that those kinds of minds are staying in India, building in India, and exporting global impact from Indian soil. This isn't about hype. This is about talent gravity. And India is pulling the world in. So if you're building for the future, whether it's clean energy, AI, or interplanetary tech, you better have India in your strategy. Because India isn't just catching up anymore. India is leading quietly, effectively, and relentlessly. And the smart countries, they are already lining up to collaborate. Listen, there's this old world belief that if a country isn't picking sides, it's being passive, that neutrality is weakness. But let me flip that on its head, because in this new world order, neutrality, if it's strategic, is not weakness. It's strength. And no one embodies that better right now than India. India's position on the global chessboard is one of the most intelligent and underrated moves of the 21st century. Let me break it down. While the West is locked in endless proxy conflicts, and while China plays geopolitical poker with hidden cards and economic coercion, India is doing something radically different. It's staying independent, it's thinking long-term, and it's operating with clarity. Look at how India handled the Russia-Ukraine war. The West wanted India to fall in line. Russia expected loyalty. What did India do? India chose India. It kept buying discounted oil when it made economic sense for 1.4 billion citizens. But it also sent humanitarian aid to Ukraine. It condemned war, but didn't collapse into ideological theater. That's not indecision. That's discipline. And the world noticed. Europe, even with its disagreements, respected India's stance. The Middle East admired it because India didn't fold under pressure. It stood tall, made its own choice, and kept its dignity intact. That's what makes India different. It doesn't chase approval. It earns respect. You've got a country that trades with Russia, but also hosts U.S. defense drills, builds infrastructure with the UAE while maintaining cultural ties with Iran, partners with Israel in tech while supporting Palestine's rights in international forums. This isn't fence-sitting. This is geopolitical mastery. Because here's the thing, in a polarized world, the power doesn't lie with those screaming from one corner. It lies with the center of gravity, the one who keeps talking to everyone, building bridges where others burn them. And right now, India is the only major power that can sit at every table, east, west, global north, global south, and be taken seriously. This kind of balance, maturity, and sovereignty, it's extremely rare, and countries are noticing. That's why Europe wants more of India as a moderator, a partner, a supplier, and a friend. That's why the Middle East is deepening ties, not just in oil, but in education, technology, and diplomacy. Because India doesn't judge, it listens, it builds, it respects, and that approach, it's winning the future. So let's stop confusing silence with weakness. India's neutrality is not passive. It's laser-focused strategy wrapped in humility, backed by strength and guided by purpose. And in a world full of noise, India's calm clarity is magnetic. You know what's fascinating? In a world obsessed with hard power, missiles, markets, media control, the most underestimated force today is cultural gravity. And when it comes to that, India is a powerhouse pulling the world in, not with force, but with connection. Especially in the Middle East, India isn't just respected. It's familiar, it's trusted, it's rooted. We're not just talking about modern trade or politics here. We're talking about thousands of years of civilizational connection, shared ideas, shared philosophies, shared migrations, and more recently, shared growth. Let's start with people. Over 9 million Indians live and work across the Gulf region, but this isn't just a labor statistic, it's a human bridge. Indian teachers, engineers, doctors, business owners, they're helping build modern Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Riyadh, and Doha. They're not just guests, they're contributors. And that builds something money can't buy, emotional equity. But now the story is evolving. The Middle East isn't just importing labor from India anymore. It's importing education, healthcare, startups, innovation, and trust. Let me give you examples. The UAE made history by introducing Hindi in its courts. That's not just policy, that's respect. Saudi Arabia is signing tech and AI pacts with Indian firms because India is producing not just software, but solutions. Indian universities like BITS Pilani and Amity are opening campuses in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, training the next generation on Middle Eastern soil. Indian films, music, fashion, they dominate cultural spaces from Cairo to Kuwait. This is soft power done right. Not imposed, not bought, just earned through decades of shared progress. And the best part? India doesn't come with an agenda. It doesn't tell you how to run your religion. It doesn't impose democracy at gunpoint. It doesn't fund proxy wars or demand political loyalty. It says we work with you on your terms as equals. And that message resonates deeply in a region that's seen enough interference from the West and enough pressure from the East. So what you're seeing now is this quiet cultural shift. The Middle East isn't just looking west anymore. It's looking east